What's up, guys? It's three-time NFL Pro Bowler, all-decade return specialist, Josh Cribbs. I want to welcome you to the College Sports Connection podcast, where Double A, Alex, and AJ host the Mid-American Conference Best.
Everybody, welcome back to the CSC Podcast. It's all action, all the time. I'm your host, Alex the Captain. Joining me, as always, it's AJ the Guru.
What's going on, everybody?
AJ, if you could play for one coach in the Mid-American Conference for one game this season, which coach and what game would it be?
Ooh. Now, we're talking future games or already games that we've played?
Any that are on the 2023 schedule.
Oh, boy. I think Miami is the way to go. I think
Chuck
playing
Martin
down there in Oxford with Coach Chuck Martin would be a lot of fun. And, I look back at that Cincinnati game.
Mm-hmm.
I think, it's a 31-24 final. The first time in a couple decades, I think, right, that they won that game. And just to be a part of that team, I think would be a lot of fun. You saw the aftermath of Oxford, literally the buses parking down by the bars and everybody going out and having a good time. And Chuck Martin enjoying it as well on the sidelines post game. I think he'd be the guy to be with for a game this year.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun to play for Coach Martin. Their first win against Cincinnati since 2005. The last time they beat Cincinnati, ironically, was when Cincinnati was joining the Big East. That was their very first season in their Big East. So Miami's had some good luck against Cincinnati in their first seasons being at the time, the Big East was an automatic qualifier. And now it's considered a Power 5 with them being in the Big 12. But yeah, no, that'd be a great game to play for Coach Martin. For me, I really, really think, just kind of looking at all these coaches, looking at all these teams, I think it would be really fun to go down and play for Tim Albin at Ohio and to play in that Ohio-Miami rivalry game where we're potentially looking at both teams being 7-1 going into that.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be an electric atmosphere. I mean, that's a great rivalry, one of the best rivalries in the history of the MAC anyway. I just feel like that would be an electric environment down at Peden. The Bobcats are undefeated at Peden Stadium on Frank Solich Field, dating back to the beginning of last season after they dedicated that field to Frank Solich. So, and that game is at Peden this year. So that's going to be a good one.
Yeah, absolutely. That'll be a good time.
So, well, that's, figured I'd pick your brain on that one.
Sure.
Before we get going into the show. But, yeah, last weekend, can't believe week 5's already done and over with. Big shout out to Western Michigan. They really did a great job this weekend, not only with their win, of course, but with the hospitality. They had a great SID up there. Adam Bodner, big thank you to you for giving me the opportunity to be there, do some coverage. I actually met the former SID, and he and we actually spoke and talked to each other the entire game. John Beatty, the former Western Michigan SID from 1969 to 1999. Fun fact for you. So he was giving me all sorts of MAC information, some tidbits, things about former coaches, not only at Western, but all across the conference. He talked about right before, and this is what I think is wild. He talked about right before he left, or right before he joined the MAC, Bo Schembechler took the job at Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
And then he talked about how he was an SID when Jack Lambert was at Kent State, when Nick Saban was at Kent State, Gary Pinkel. And then he talked about Chuck Ely playing as the quarterback at Toledo for the 35-0. And then he talked about being an SID, a young SID, when the Marshall plane crash happened and how they were playing MAC team. Like he really talked about a lot of that history, and fun little tidbit for you. And I found this out, and I think I can share this. And if not, I'll of course pull it off the internet. But I think I can share this. Marshall got kicked out of the MAC, as most people are aware, back in the 60s. What had happened was they got kicked out of the Mid-American Conference partly because of recruiting violations. They were paying players under the table, things like that. I mean, it's a whole big thing. But they didn't send their president to the MAC spring vote. And they sent their vice president because their president was down at their state capitol in West Virginia trying to allocate state funding for the university and for the athletic department. So they sent the vice president, who at the time, the vice president couldn't vote. I think now the rules have changed for MAC voting and whatnot, that the representative votes. Wasn't the case. It had to be the president.
President, right?
So the president wasn't there. He was going to secure funding with the state budget, and they were voted out of the conference unanimously by the other voting members who could vote, while the vice president sat there and watched. It's a fun little fact for you.
I knew a little bit of that. I didn't know all the extent of the details. Interesting. And then they came back in what, 90?
The late 90s, yeah.
Late 90s, yeah. Because we talked. Well, we had a great conversation with Kirshner and Lester about that.
Mm-hmm.
And Coach Lester talked about playing Chad Pennington back in the day, and how Chad Pennington's son's at Marshall now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's interesting. Yeah, it's you look back at the history of the conference, and there's a lot of schools too. Once you look in depth, a lot of schools you never would have guessed were in the conference, or schools that you just totally forgot.
Sure.
Obviously the core 12 have been there a long time, and there's not going to be any change in that in the near future. So that's one thing we don't have to worry about.
So that was a fun little history lesson. I got loads of those nuggets from John. A big shout out to him for chatting me up during the whole game. That was a great time learning from him and being able to exchange contact with him. And yeah, great guy. Really, really glad I got a chance to speak with him. But yeah, again, big shout out to Western Michigan. They thrashed Ball State this weekend, pretty good fashion. And I know we'll get into that here shortly, but a great atmosphere, beautiful stadium. That was my first time up at Waldo Stadium. Mm-hmm. They did an excellent job. Really, really glad I got the chance to go up there, be a part of that atmosphere, and yeah, kind of see some of the cool stuff that they've got going on up there. They had the second highest attendance in the conference this year, or this week. So yeah, let's dive into it. Let's start with our player of the week, our helmet sticker. AJ, who are you giving your overall performance helmet sticker to this week?
Yeah, this week, we were actually, it's kind of funny. We were just talking about it. This is going to be my helmet sticker along with play of the week. This will be Quan Mangwood from Ball State. 9 interceptions, 110 yards, averaged 12.2 yards per reception. But his touchdown, you saw it live. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure all 11 players from Western Michigan missed a tackle on him. Yeah. And it seems like over the past couple of years, we date back probably 4 years ago now, that wild onside kick at the end of the game down in Muncie to now. It seems like Western and Ball State always have a weird play. Mm-hmm. And this was that weird play with Mangwood this weekend. You check out the highlight on YouTube or Twitter. He eluded, I think, 12 tacklers for a touch, and he ran 70 yards to go 16.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was sitting in the box. It was interesting because the side of the box I was in was mostly Western Michigan writers, reporters, coverage, things like that. And there were audible woes and oh my God, like just a lot of people just unreal watching Magwood just go back and forth, making guys miss. Yeah, like you said, he went 70 yards to really actually go 32, and that it was unbelievable what he did. Mm-hmm. I mean, he had a great game, like you said, 9 catches, 110 yards, 1 score. He and Lane Hatcher hooked up quite a bit on the day. Obviously, not enough for Ball State, but that connection, if they keep building that between Magwood and Hatcher, Magwood and really whoever is at quarterback, he's going to be their big threat receiver, I think.
Yeah, I think so. He has a great opportunity to do that. It's interesting. You look at that final score, 42-24. Lane Hatcher was 26 of 37 for 316 and 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Mm-hmm. that's not a bad game at all.
No, he had a great game. He had a
Yeah,
really great game as the defense just could not stop anything, especially in the
yeah,
second quarter. That's when Western really blew it open. 21
yeah,
points in the second quarter, just could not do anything.
yeah. I mean, Cole Pierce, 10 total tackles. The City Houston, 10 total as well. Then you had Newsom, Riley, and Coleman with 8, 7, and 6. Outside of that, it was pretty quiet. I mean, heck, Wes Cooper even has a tackle on here. And that's never good when you're running back as a tackle. So, yeah, a little rough one for Ball State. They showed some flashes, but they need to get the consistency together. Sitting at 1-4 on the year, Western leaves this game at 2-3.
Yeah, no, and that's always tough. It's never good when you get into a deficit like that. Again, Lane Hatcher, like you said, he had a great game. Over 300 yards, 3 scores. Looked really good in the pocket. Looked really comfortable. Looked like he was really a guy on a mission, trying to win his starting job back. And I think he had a really nice game. But so that's your helmet sticker, that touchdown, but then also that player for his performance. That's your
Yeah, absolutely.
okay, cool. Well, I've got two different ones. Let's go my helmet sticker this week. Central Michigan, Eastern Michigan, big rivalry game, as everybody knows. I went with Kyle Moretti. The defensive side of the ball, number 22 linebacker for Central Michigan. He had a really, really nice game against Eastern Michigan. He had 10 total tackles, 4 solo, 6 assisted. But the stat that stands out to me was the fact that he had 2 sacks. And the sacks are really important because he hadn't had a sack all year. He got 2 in critical moments in this game that helped lift Central to a 26-23 victory. So Kyle really stands out to me as my helmet sticker. That's the guy I'm giving my helmet sticker to this week. I was completely impressed with him, with what I kind of saw from him, just, going back and watching film from this game. And he was just in that backfield. Even if he didn't get every hit on the quarterback, he was causing a lot of pressure and making a lot of good plays. So, Kyle, you get my helmet sticker for this week. Congrats on a great week and a great win against your rival. But my play of the week, and this, I'm actually really surprised this wasn't your play of the week. But I understand the one you picked was phenomenal. Finn Hogan, Bowling Green.
That was the easy choice.
It was.
So,
It
that
was.
was one too. When I was thinking about this, I did think about that one too, but I'm like, chances are we're both going to take this one because
I had a backup ready in case you went with that one, because and we both could have picked it. That would have been fine, right? But I think even if both of us picked it, a lot of people picked this one. Even national pundits. I mean, when you've got the defender draped all over you and you make a one-handed catch in the end zone, it's just like that. Really, yes, Bowling Green took the lead with that catch, but it's also that, to me, I think turned the tide in the game for the Falcons. Their defense played really well in that second quarter. Really, second, third, and fourth quarter, they only gave up 13 points the rest of the game. But that really turned the tide because the offense came out, ripped off 21 points in the third quarter, and Bowling Green just ran away with this game. To me, that was the play of the week. That not only was huge for him as a player, but huge for the team to go get a victory against Georgia Tech.
Yeah, that was an interesting one too. I mean, you look at it, the MAC has had some good success over Georgia Tech the past couple of years. NIU, I believe it was 2 years ago down in Atlanta.
2021.
21, yeah, and then this year with BG. And this is a great win for BG, who's kind of struggled to find an identity over the last couple of years. Matt McDonald's a quarterback for it seemed like 20 years. He leaves. They have the transfer come in. And BG's really trying to find that identity, and this is a fantastic opportunity. It was a fantastic opportunity to go down to Atlanta and get a huge win against now I'm not gonna say a powerhouse of an ACC program, but somebody who can make a little bit of noise in the ACC. And for BG to come back with a win is huge.
Yeah, absolutely. So hats off to them for the monumental win this week. Big shout out to Bowling Green for that win. Let's talk games of the week this coming week. We've got a big schedule. Two final non-conference games. We got Western Michigan at Mississippi State, Toledo at UMass. The rest of the teams are all in conference. CMU at Buffalo, Ball State at Eastern, Bowling Green at Miami, Kent State at Ohio, NIU at Akron, albeit the Ball State at Eastern game up in Ypsilanti. So looking forward to being back at the factory. But talk to me about which game really stands out to you as the game of the week.
Yeah, there's some interesting ones here. I think, you look at NIU and Akron. Both teams are sitting there at 1-4. I think this is the season-defining game for both teams.
Yeah.
Both teams have shown sparks. Akron obviously went to the wire against IU a couple of weeks ago. And, a team that we follow closely, Northern Illinois, they started off the season with a win at Boston College and have struggled since. They showed a little promise against Tulsa, one of the games you were at. And then they played Toledo tough this past week as well, losing that one away by 2. So I really think the battle of these 1-4 teams is going to be crucial because both we talked about both teams have struggled on both sides of the ball at times, but they have shown that promise. So whoever can come out of this with a win and go to 2-4 on the year, it could set the right path for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I think so. I think that Northern Illinois Akron game is going to be a very competitive game. Northern Illinois showed some offensive ability this last week. Akron has played 2 weeks in a row with overtime games. Losing to Buffalo 13-10 in overtime this last week. Big news though for Akron, and I think this is what really I think is going to define their season. The loss of DJ Irons, confirmed torn ACL. Jeff Undercuffler is going to have to step in and fill in the rest of the year.
Yeah.
So that's a big loss for the Zips, but I really think that I'm impressed with their defense on the year. They've played some really good defense. They've made some big plays. Buffalo is not great this year by any means. Buffalo put up 38 points a week ago down at, I believe it was Louisiana.
Yeah.
And then Akron held them to 10 in regulation. You can't sneeze at that. For me, you talk about games that kind of define the season. Bowling Green at Miami. Bowling Green's coming off a big win. They have really struggled maintaining momentum. Coach Leffler talks about being consistent. Last year, they went to Toledo and they beat Toledo, but the week before, they lost to Kent State by like 38. The week after, they lost to Ohio by 30. So it's, they really struggle with finding their momentum. So 2 weeks ago, they lost to Ohio by 31 at home. You go down, get a big win at Georgia Tech. It's how they respond this week. Miami is really good. You're playing at Yager Stadium. This is a big game for both Bowling Green and Miami. Miami obviously looking to move to 5-1. Bowling Green looking to move to 3-3 and a chance to be very competitive in Mid-American Conference play. To me, that is the game of the week.
Yeah, that's a huge one. BG, with coming off that high of this win last week, how are they going to be able to contain that or use that to their advantage? Being 10-point dogs playing in Oxford. And a late afternoon kickoff too. 3:30 your East Coast time.
Yep.
So yeah, that's going to be interesting to watch as well.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. Great slate of games this week. But yeah, I think that's about it for me this week, man.
Yeah, I think so too. So some of these, that Western Mississippi State game, obviously Mississippi State's favored by 20 down there at Mississippi State. That could be interesting. You saw it live. Western showed some things. They showed that they can play. Now, granted, Ball State's defense isn't the greatest, but they showed they can move the ball, and they showed.
Well, and I think what's going to be interesting is, and as of right now, the MAC has 4 Power 5 wins this year.
Yeah.
You get Mississippi State. My preseason prediction was the MAC will win 5 games against Power 5 opponents. We're at 4 right now. Western Michigan gets this win. That prediction comes true. Now, granted, the wins did not come from where I thought they would come. I would not in a million years have bet Bowling Green would have won in Georgia Tech last week. And to their credit, I don't think a lot of people thought that. I think even some of their own faithful were,
Yeah.
struggling with that one. But so to their credit, they go down and get that win. But I think it's really, really important to look at this game for Western Michigan. This game doesn't affect what you do in the conference. You're 1-1 in conference play. Go out, play, have fun. Try to get the W. Mississippi State's a quality program out of the SEC. No doubt about that. But I think this is an opportunity for Western Michigan to continue to build momentum.
Sure.
You had a really good game against Toledo for a half, and then you got thrashed in the second half. You dominated Ball State at home, got comfortable, found some offensive identity. Go and replicate that. Success breeds success.
And go out there, compete, but come back healthy.
Go out. Yeah, exactly. Go out, compete, come back healthy. Starkville is Davis Wade Stadium down there is really, really cool. Bowling Green played down there. I would want to say it was last year.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I mean, good opportunity for Western Michigan to round out their non-conference schedule. And yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to watching that game or catching parts of that game as I can. So yeah, we'll see, man. Should be a good weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a good slate of games, and we're going to be thicker and thicker here after. Well, we're what couple weeks away from midweek action.
Yeah, we're about a month away now.
About a month away, yeah. So that's
So
always fun to watch, and heck, maybe we can do some for a future idea for that show. We can do a podcast during a game, and talk about the game a little bit while we're doing a show. So that'd be a lot of fun.
yeah, see what we can do. See what the schools will let us do. But yeah, that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I finally got some pictures posted from the Nebraska game from a couple of weeks back. I'm not sure if you saw them yet or not. I was able to get 4 or 5 put up there, some really good ones.
Cool.
I'll send you the file. We'll get those all on our website for everybody to check out. Faith did a great job with those. It was funny because the shout out to Rocky Lombardi. I tagged him and hit the picture we posted of him, and no more than 2 minutes later, he put on his Instagram story.
That's cool.
So shout out to Rocky for that. Always a good guy to us in the NIU program in general.
Sure.
Yeah, we'll have some more posts. I know you've got some coming up here as well. So yeah, we've got some really cool content that way.
Sure. No, it's good. It'd be good to get those photos up, and get those shared out with people. You may see some coaches walking around, with our hoodies. We was able to distribute a few hoodies out this weekend. One to a dear friend of the program, Sarah Tisdale, of the lacrosse coach at Eastern Michigan. Went up there, covered some volleyball last week. Was able to give her hoodie. Going to be giving our other hoodies that we have for Coach Tomich and Coach Fenton from Bowling Green softball and volleyball. They're ready for them. I know we're starting to prep for that cold weather. I've got your guys' hoodies here, of course. But I'll tell you what, guys, they're comfortable. We may do a hoodie order soon for you listeners because they're comfortable, and I'm ready to start thinking about hoodie weather.
Absolutely. Hell, we had snow here this morning in the mountains, so
well, we better get you those hoodies.
Absolutely. But yeah, then I will be making a trip back east at the end of the month. That flight has been booked this morning already, so that'll be fun. I will probably be doing the Eastern and Western game that weekend up in Ypsilanti. Well, you're down in Athens. I'll be up there, and that'll be a really fun day of doing 2 games, 2 really good games.
Sure.
So yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. I'm excited to get back. I haven't been back east in a year, so that'll be a lot of fun.
AJ abandons me and he thinks he's too good for me, so he went to live in the Mountain West Conference.
Absolutely. Well, I'm making contacts out here in the Mountain West. So that's one thing too. Next week we'll be doing the Air Force Wyoming game here in Colorado Springs. So that's gonna be a lot of fun as well.
Sure. But yeah, guys, I think that's gonna be it for us this week. Keep checking out some of our content. Got some cool stuff getting posted, sharing out for you guys to check out. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. You can follow us on our Twitter at College Sport Pod. You can find us on Instagram over at the CSC Podcast. We're up on Facebook, the CSC Podcast, all action all the time. Our YouTube page, you can find us at the CSC Podcast. We'll be posting more content there soon. Yeah, I think that's going to about do it for me. AJ, anything else from you, man?
I think that's it. Yeah, you mentioned YouTube. That's going to be a lot of fun to start diving into a little bit more as well. and we'll be definitely doing some more cool things there. And one other thing too, I want to bring up, you mentioned me living out here. I've got Miami of Ohio hockey coming out here twice, and I've got Western Michigan hockey coming out here twice this year. So we're going to be heavy into hockey as they both play at Denver and Colorado College. Colorado College is 10 minutes from me. Denver's 45.
Perfect.
So and they both play Friday and Saturday nights. So
Even better.
we're going to be doing a lot of hockey this winter. Shout out to Zach Manning up there at Western, keeping me in the loop of what's going on up there with their hockey program. But yeah, we're going to be having some fun hockey stuff going on this winter. By winter, they start like in November.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be a lot of fun as well. If you guys haven't been to a hockey game, either BG, Miami, Western, who else is playing hockey? Is that it?
I think that's it out of the MAC.
I think that's it. Yeah, I highly recommend it. And we'll get more in depth as the season goes. I did a couple of Western games last year out here in Colorado College, and they were a lot of fun. So we'll get more in depth than that. But as that season comes up here in the next month and a half, make sure you go check out those programs.
Good deal. Well, well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We appreciate it. That's going to do it for us this week. So stay tuned, and we will see you next week.
See ya.